to not have to stop somewhere else and run errands.
I hear you. So today's conversation is on YouTube. On Wednesdays, we're live. And today's conversation is about the most important part of eBay, which I'm glad Shani is here to remind us, because I feel like Shani, you're really good at bringing up different discussion topics and things that we should be working on. But really, 90% of eBay is just your listing habit. So what you want to do is think about everything and how long it takes. So Robin actually inspired me with her thought yesterday, because she said she only has 5 hours to work on eBay and she wants to make every minute count. That is exactly the right mentality you want when you're doing it. Because for me, I don't want to work 20 hours a day. I like the 5 hour method, how to actually get that done. So I know start to finish, for me, a listing takes 6 minutes. So knowing that really helps me, because here, I'll show you the different steps of my business. So for me personally, I have to detag the items. I have to measure the items. I have to describe the items, grade them. So this is me determining if I even want to sell it. I think that job is worth $20 an hour if I can do 30 at a time. So I know how long that takes. I know how long staging, photographing, and packing the item takes. Um, Actually, I am separating this because I actually want to change my packing process because it takes too long. It takes 20 seconds a package, and I don't know how to improve that. I want it to take 1 second, but I don't know how to. After I'm done photographing it, I want to pack it into the plastic fast, but it's not fast. 20 seconds ends up being like a couple hours a day. Um, Thank you card. Then I consider myself the manager. So this is the customer service, shipping the item, and filling out all the item specifics. I have a virtual assistant that builds the listings on the back end. That only costs 10 cents. So if you guys are using Hammock, I recommend over time you switch to using your own, because it's literally 15 times cheaper. I spend 7 cents on packing materials, rent, admin, other expenses all added together are 35 cents per item. So if you know how long every.
I have a question about when do you print out your SKU label thing? That's
Okay.
not in there.
Yeah, I need to add that. I print out the SKU label thing at the beginning. So I consider that part of the manager's job to find out where the location is. And the reason why I call it the manager is because I'm going to eventually replace myself. It might take a couple of years for me to get to the point where it's clean enough. But yeah, I'm going to add that. Printing, and Shani had asked about that as well. Where do I find the locations of the next item? So I'll document that so it's easier to understand, because that's the manager part takes a long time. People don't even think about that. They think, oh, shipping, I mean, just listing and photography, but really there's back end work, customer service, finding out where to store your things. That takes time. Travis?
When you said build your listing on the back end, you have your assistant build it on the back end. What exactly is what do you mean by build it on the back end?
Sure, that's a great question. I'll share my screen and show you guys as well. So okay, so right now I have 653 drafts that I need to launch. And so what my virtual assistant is doing, and I can teach anyone to do this. What essentially you're doing is I have written the title already, and I've taken photographs, and I'll show you how it works. So my SKU number is 6326, and it's in bin number 346. I actually don't fill this out. The virtual assistant does, because it's on this card. So in my spreadsheet, I put the location, which is 346, and they fill out this card number 6326, which is the last photo. This is another reason why I take this photo, is because one, I think it looks nice, and two, it lets the customer know this is a real item. And this photo is the only one, or one of the only photos that's not edited. So this is like the true color of the item. Not that, my edited photos don't look correct as well, but some people think this is a stock photo. It's not, but that's why I have that last photo. Also, I don't mind having the photographer's hand in the photo for the same reason. I like the idea of This is somebody's store in somebody's house, not some big shop. So I like that concept. So they're filling out the title, the condition description, and I'll come in here and adjust it. So they didn't fill out the type. So this is regular size large. It's a cardigan. I'm going to make sure that as many item specifics as I can are filled out. So let's see here. This is an acrylic blend. This is I don't know my women's necks yet. I don't know which neck this is. So I'm actually going to leave it blank. But if I knew what neckline it was, I would put that in because I do think that some people search for it, but not a lot.
Most
300
women don't know necklines either, and it's either a scoop neck or a V-neck
What do you think?
That's a
or a
scoop
crew
neck.
neck. So
That
it's
looks like a crew.
That's a
No.
crew
crew
neck.
neck, right?
I
crew
don't, I
is
don't,
up here.
I don't
A
think
crew
it's
is up here.
I don't think
That's
it's a
scoop
crew.
neck.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
So I should know this. Scoop neck,
But you
sleeve
don't
length.
really need any more than those three unless it's something really funky.
So I didn't measure. This looks like a long sleeve to me, but it might be 3/4 sleeve. So this is one of those things where, all right, I'm gonna put long sleeve. This is solid. It's a knit. So you fill out as many as you can. Let's see. I'm not gonna fill this out because I don't know what type of knit it is. Let me see. This is why women's clothing is so challenging because there's so many details. Let's
It's
see.
cable.
Is it
Call
cable?
a cable knit.
All right, thank you. So this is my responsibility actually to know all this stuff because I'm the one launching the listings. So Travis, they're also entering in the price. I don't want to entertain offers less than 13 on this. Actually, maybe I'll go 10. Because looking at this range, maybe it's only worth 10 plus shipping. So I don't want to decline any offers below 10. They set up the shipping policies. I measure I weigh the item after when it sells. I don't do it before. Some people do it before, but I don't do it before because of the just because most of my items are over 1 pound. This is not first class. This is probably pretty heavy. So this is probably going to go in a padded flat rate envelope. But I don't fill this part out at all. They build the listing and they can do 30 an hour. So it's funny how almost everything in my business is 30 an hour, but it only takes me about 30 seconds to launch the listing, especially if it's men's, because I actually know every drop down. The women's,
So,
I'm learning. Go ahead.
oh, so if I'm understanding, what you do is you have somebody write your description.
Mhm.
You have somebody that builds that description. So they'll put that description in, or build the listing on the back end. So they'll put that description in. They'll put in size and a couple other things. That's it. And then you fill in the rest.
Yes. No, actually,
Okay.
they fill in everything except for the item specifics. And the bin number is in the custom SKU, and the number is in the same spreadsheet where I write the title. So that's where I store the bin. I'll
Have
actually,
you ever tried listing from your phone?
I have.
And did you find, because I find that if I get all the keywords in the title,
Yeah.
the app will populate 60% of the listing for me.
Okay, I'll show you because hopefully Travis can see the screen. Okay, so
Yeah, it's hard.
this is the spreadsheet that I use. So here's an example. There's the bin number in here. So let me give you guys an example. Let's say I want to list this J. Crew men's button-down shirt gray. So Robin was talking about before is that the listing will pre-populate. So this link that I use to build my listings, if I type in the title, it's going to guess what category it's in. So men's clothing, shirts, casual. So if I click this button, this is what mobile and the website automatically do this. So all these item specifics have already been guessed by eBay. So if I scroll down, it's already guessed the brand. It hasn't guessed long sleeve. So this is regular. This is size small. So scrolling down, I don't know the pictures. This is just a sample, but whatever the pattern would be. So my virtual assistant can fill this all out. And then when I come in and just make sure that this is all correct. And then the inventory says here, this is where Shani's question is. My bin is 404 and the SKU is 173. So if I go into my listing, I'm going to copy and paste that into the custom label. Whoops. So I'm going to paste 404173 into this is where it is. And then my SKU would be 173 on this one. So they're filling out this part for me. And yes, it does guess the item specifics for you on mobile and on your computer. Go
Do
ahead.
you usually use all 80 characters or is
I-
that a typical title for you?
I usually use all 80, but it depends on who's describing. So
Because like if you put collared, long sleeved, if you add that in there, then when you go back in to add in your item specifics, you're not going to have much left to add.
let's try it.
Because
So
it'll
let me-
populate all those like little micro specifics too.
Yeah, I agree with you. So let me cancel this. Okay, so let's try again. If you click this, click the new. Let's see. I added those other keywords. Let's see if it's smart enough to pull up collared and long sleeve. So I scroll down. It pulled up long sleeve. It still doesn't pull up regular large. So I wonder if I add the word regular, if it will pull that up. And then it did pull up collared. So you're right. If you write the perfect title, it might pull it up. So let me try one more, because I'm curious how to get it to pull up the regular. So let me add regular instead of the word size. It's actually size small. So let me see. Let me see if it'll pull this up.
If you just try an S for size too, like instead of writing out small, try an S, it might populate that form for you.
Let me see. So let's try adding the word regular, and then I'll try the letter S. So this did pull up regular. So let's try, let me cancel it and put S instead of small. All right, so if I do S instead of small, let's try one more. And I wonder, does eBay spell gray Gray or EY? I guess this is, let's see how close it is.
I think that the name is spelled with an E and the color is spelled with an A.
I always used A in America, E in England.
Okay. So it didn't pull the S for me, but it pulled regular, which is nice. And so look, almost every item specific was auto-populated, just missing one for the required. Then I could put the pattern in, and then let's see. Collared. And this is actually, I don't know if it's a true button down collar, but I use button down shirt, and some people use button front shirt. So it depends on but yeah, if you write the perfect title, which I'm trying to train my people to do, then, we've been experimenting with it. I've been trying to explain, like, remove the thrift store tag first, button all the buttons, zip all the zippers, test the item for flaws first. As soon as the items come in, you make sure if it has any flaws, we don't list it. Then measure the item first, then brand, gender, all the stuff that's on the label, color, size, type. So I am adding now regular to the title to hopefully speed it up. Brand, gender, model, subcategory. I'm trying to add in all the instructions so it can get as close as possible. And you can see right now there's two people in this spreadsheet working. One in my other location, and the virtual assistant is building drafts right now. So back to the conversation of how long does your goal take? Shani, I did the math. For me to list 240 items a day, it would take 32 hours a day. Since I can't actually work 32 hours a day, my goal couldn't be done by myself. So that's good to look at your once you know how long you figure out what your lifestyle is. So Shani, I put that because you were inspired. Actually, a bunch of people texted me with the thought that if your monthly income pays your annual bills, that's actually exciting. I think that that's a good way to look at it, because some people don't agree with Grant Cardone, but one of the things that he said was, you can put 16 grand into your 401k, or 19 grand. That's what people do for retirement. But imagine if you put 10 times of that into your retirement. So, because people need to be motivated to stay patient. It takes a long time. So if your goal is really small, who wants to wait till the end of the year so they can have a cookie? That's too small of a goal. You got to think of something big so that you're willing to wait all year for it. It takes a long time. Get a big goal. So that's my advice there. April, do you have some thoughts?
Oh, did I unmute? I'm sorry.
It's
No,
all good.
but that was a good thought though.
April, do you want to share what you're working on? It's been a while.
Hi. I'm just still plugging away at my books and everything. Sorry, I just there, can you hear me? Is that a little
No,
better?
it's all good.
No, it's been going good. I just did the I don't have the fear of missing out, the FOMO thing. I've been saying no to things. I purged all my little squirrel stuff the other day, all my big equipment and all that. So my space is clear because that was getting cluttered up a little bit and distracting. So
I'm glad you brought that up, April, because I have a 15 item a day listing habit for my squirrel stuff. Because I want to get rid of it, and I'm not going to throw it away. It's worth money, so I'm going to list 15 a day and get rid of that pile.
no, and I like calling it the squirrel pile instead of the shame pile.
Nice. Squirrel pile is good. Yeah, that might, I think a squirrel pile might be more motivating. I don't know. It depends on you. For me, shame pile is really motivating.
Okay, and then I do have one comment though, real quick, because you brought up retirement.
Yeah, go for it.
When you were talking last week, is Jeannie on the line? I can't see my stuff. You guys
She's
were
here.
talking about the so-called Lego pile. She had to, I was talking on the phone with her later that week. She had to get off early. She didn't get to finish her thought. What Jeannie does is her so-called Lego, it wasn't Legos necessarily, her 401k pile. It's not that stuff she puts away is for her 401k, is that she puts it away, sells it for 2 to 3 times profit, then that goes into a real 401k account. She wasn't just holding and saving, because that seemed like what it came across as, and that's not what it was.
But that's what it sounds like to me because it's not listed. See, the benefit of a 401k is it's earning interest the entire time you put money into it.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
That's why I don't consider it a 401k. It's just it is just a pile. It doesn't earn you anything. Like,
oh, so you were just taking it from the moment it starts earning you money. Oh, okay, I got it.
Yeah, so that's the benefit of this is why when you tell people if you save money, you'll be better in the future, it doesn't make any sense because compound interest is not natural. I didn't learn this until my 30s, which sucks because I missed my entire 20s of compounding interest.
Right.
If you tell people to wait all year for a cookie, they won't do it. But it's not a cookie. It's like a Ferrari. If you just wait 10 years, instead of buying a brand new Corolla, you can buy anything you want. You can buy an island. And 99% of Warren Buffett's net worth was made after the age of 50.
Which is inspiring for 48-year-olds like me. So
yeah.
It's like, I like when you talk about it.
So all you have to do, April, to be like Warren Buffett is start investing now and don't stop till you're in your 90s. That's what he did. He didn't stop until he was in his 90s. So he's still doing it. So that's important to think about. The compounding part of eBay. Most people, that was my problem. I was like, why do I have to? I'll just get this right now. Instead of thinking about how massive it now at this point, since I've only been compounding this store for 1 year and it has 13,000 items in it.
Nice.
That's not that long.
No,
you don't
it's
have
not.
to wait forever. All you have to do is just, I know this is way easier said than done, but all you have to do is just compound the money into it. Don't take it out. And now that's why I put in this last episode yesterday, how my expenses are going to stay the same. I don't plan on change. I wrote down like, what is my exact lifestyle that I want? And then I'll just keep that forever. And then the only thing that you can't have in your lifestyle is like extravagances, because that'll slow you down. It says dead weight. Unless actually there's some exceptions to that, because sometimes like there are certain things I think would be worth it for the money to be inspiring, certain things that are not. So like, for example, I don't think getting a cleaning service every 2 weeks. I think everyone should probably do that. Get a cleaning service every 2 weeks Maybe have somebody help you with meal prep.
Yes.
Maybe do, if you have kids, maybe have a babysitter once every 2 weeks so that you can have some sanity. That seems pretty normal. Here people are, because of where I live, everyone tries to make things to solve things. And I would say a big emphasis is shifting to parenting. Because what happened where I live is, because all the restaurants shut down, all the food apps died. So all those people that were working on food apps and ranking stuff, they're bored because they lost their job. So now they're making stuff like parenting apps because so many people are spending all day with their kids at home now.
Oops,
That's a
I
huge
lost you.
trend.
There.
Go ahead, April.
No, I'm sorry. My phone, my eye froze on my end. Sorry.
No worries. So that's something, that's a huge trend. Like my cousin called me yesterday. He hasn't filled up his tank of gas since March. He's stuck at home. He has 3 kids, 9, 7, and 3, and he can't do anything. He's like,
Oh, that's not funny.
I basically work or take care of my kids. That's 100% of my day. I don't have any, because I have to teach them how to do stuff now. So that's why he switched. He had an awesome app called Top Dish, and what that meant was everyone ranked the best dish at every restaurant instead of the restaurant. He's like, I don't go to a restaurant, eat everything on the menu. I just eat the one thing I like. So he made an app that was called Top Dish that was killing it. And it basically went to 0 in March.
Oh,
So
that
now,
sounds good too.
so now he started over and he's making an app to help parents from age 3 to 9. So, I mean, you just shift. You don't know what's going to happen to you. What if you were in the event planning business?
Ugh. I was, damn it.
So you'd have to move. But let's go to Shani. Shani, I want to talk about your listing habit because that's how you determine which things to do. Does it increase your listing habit? So Shani, back to the 15 a day. That's what we were doing a while ago. What do you want to do now?
No, I think that's a good number, but I think what I need is the little mantras, the little habits, to get me to do that. I need something like to ring the bell, whatever it is. Okay, start,
Yes.
finish. I think that's what I got to have because I'm just not motivated by it at all.
Yes. So,
yeah.
Sorry to cut you off. I think this is really important. You actually don't need to be smart to be a reseller. The more information you have, it doesn't really matter. All you actually need is the behavior. So this is important. I think you're right. When you're talking about a bell or a whistle or something, what you're talking about is a trigger. So when you have your habits set up, some people just do it automatically. So for example, I thought this was funny, not funny, but kind of insane. So Mike Tyson was like this incredible fighter, and he's like, I'm triggered by exercise. So he's like, I was just like this peaceful guy enjoying my life, and then I went for a walk, and that turned into going for a run, and that turned into sprinting for 2 hours a day, and that turned into 10 hours in the gym, and now I'm training for a boxing match in my 50s. That he's programmed mentally to work to the max. He doesn't have any other gear. So when you set up your behavior, right now, Shani, your behavior is set up to be distracted. Something will pop up and you'll chase that. And I heard the exact thing I think that causes it, which you said, you're always looking for a deal. You're motivated by the deal. I'm not motivated by the deal because that means I need to keep hunting for it. I just want regular things. Hunting for the deal means you've got to be out there on the prowl all day looking for the deal. And that's difficult because there's always a better deal. So you got to be bouncing around. So behavior modification is where, like in the morning, you have your workout habit. Is that still going?
Yes, I still have that. So if I could figure out how to do.
So how does that happen each day? How do you get your exercise in?
It's just the first thing I do. I go and I don't even think about it. I have the clothes that I wear and I put them on and then I go. So I'm not sure what the triggers are, or if they've just, I think things, it's kind of like when you drive yourself to work in the old days, you get there and you go, how did I get here? It's that whole
Yes,
mentality. I just haven't created it for the listing part. I've done
that's
it
right.
for, there's lots of
Chris,
things
can
in
I chime in?
Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say you just said it right there. You plan it. Like it's literally planned. I wake up, I already know, like my workout is literally I know what I'm gonna do tomorrow.
Mhm.
Like I know exactly. And so I don't think about it. I don't spend any mental energy thinking about, oh, how is this gonna happen? I already know exactly step by step how it's gonna happen.
Yeah, that is so true. Yesterday, I planned what I was going to wear today because I had no time. And I don't even have to think. My entire day is planned for me. What I'm doing right now is I know I have this call, so I'm going to knock out this call. And I even know what I wanted to talk about in this call, which is setting up your listing habit, which is your behavior. But I think Travis is right. If you have to think about it, if I were to say, when do you list and you don't know, you're probably already behind. You kind of have to know what the plan is. And we talk about true wealth and true freedom as being able to control your own schedule. Usually that means doing parts of the day that you don't like so that most of the day can be what you like. Like if you don't plan, you end up being a slave to bills, basically. You got to go to work to pay the bills. So that's why I'm so proud of myself. I have 0 subscriptions. Like I don't, and now that I'm changing my own oil, it's like I don't even have to go to the store ever.
It's that emotion you're a slave to. Like you're thinking
Yeah.
about it and spending, like what you say, mental energy thinking about it. It's that like yeah, it's a drain mentally to think about like, oh, what do I got to do? How do I got to do it? If you already know exactly, you're not spending any mental energy.
And so as an example, Shani, I think it takes 6 months to a year for your store to catch up to your listing habit. So if you pick 15 listings a day, guaranteed within a year, you'll have 15 sales a day. It's almost in any category. So if you could just set that up, so you don't have to think about it, wake up, get your workout in, go straight to shipping. After you're done shipping, go straight to listing, then do whatever it is that you're honestly going to be done pretty early. You'll probably be done at late morning if you just did all those things in a row. That's also another Gary Keller thing. He said, if it takes you longer than noon to get done with everything, then you're doing it wrong. Well, who sets up their day so they have to work from 6 a.m. till 9 p.m.? He's like, that's a really stupid way to run your life. Try to be done earlier so you can have a life. Like I'm so motivated by the thought of Gary Keller said, if my business blows up, my lifestyle with my wife doesn't change. It's the same. We've already saved the entire amount of money it takes for us to live to year 100 with our current lifestyle. So if my business fails, it's fine. So, but it takes planning. So that's the cookie at the end of his journey, is not having to work ever again. So that's motivating to be frugal. But like, I don't know, I wasted my 20s. But I think maybe it's good for you to do that so you can fully appreciate it, because Warren Buffett started investing at age 10. He was already a multimillionaire before he was 20. So if a 10-year-old can do it, we can do it too. Just slowly start putting money in, and doesn't matter what age you are. Let's go with Matt. Matt, beautiful scenery. What are you thinking about?
That's the thing. I was just thinking, like, what do I want us to talk about? I was literally just thinking that. Because I was like, what are we talking about Warren Buffett for? None of this applies to me. Like, I already know what I need to do. And then I was like, well, why am I here at all if I already know what I need to do?
Well, part of what people like to do, because I don't, me being here, the purpose of this is to create a community where people think about long-term thinking. So for you, Matt, it wouldn't take you very long. I mean, you're working on it right now, but to set up something that makes you more money over time for the rest of your life. Warren Buffett set up the freedom part before he was 20 years old, he was done working forever for the man. Then he did whatever he wanted to do for the next 72 years. That's insane. But who's 10 years old and figures out, oh, if I invest, my allowance when I'm out of high school, it'll be legit. But I just think that's the reason why I'm talking about it, is because I don't know anybody who did something for 82 years in a row.
I already know the road to get there though.
True.
It's like just list 400, 500 things a week forever. For like at least
Can I
the
say
next couple
something?
years.
Go ahead, Christine.
Matt, human beings are pack animals. We love being in a group. You are a valuable part of this group. You have the experience of being part of a group in your spiritual group. So I think that you are bringing value to this group, and that helps your ego. Even though you have a healthy ego, you're still being valuable, and that gives us not purpose, but it feels good. So that's why you're here. And we like you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, Matt, you're one of my favorite people. So as far as there are also people who are lone wolf type, but I do think that for the most part, even lone wolf types show up once a year for Christmas. Go ahead, Ed.
Even Tech smiles on these calls.
He does.
Even though he says he wants to be all by himself, he still enjoys his Tuesday nights.
Definitely. Ed? Ed, did you have a thought? Oh, you're on mute.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Isn't that hilarious? I miss like the most important thing that has everything to do with me, right? That's so funny, dude.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead, Ed.
You know what Warren Buffett does all day?
Reads.
Yeah, 80% of the day he reads.
Yeah.
He doesn't answer emails. He doesn't make phone calls. He reads. And I think that's like the most awesome goal.
It's a cool life to just, but he's been doing that for 80 years. That's so interesting that he just, it's like that janitor that retired with $7 million and never made more than minimum wage. And what do you like to do for fun is chop firewood and hang out at the local hospital. And then when he died, he left $7 million to charity because he just compound interested for 70 years or something.
There's an application for us, maybe.
Yeah. Well, Matt was saying listing 400 or 500 items a week forever.
Right. But I think where Buffett is, where we're not yet, is Buffett spends a lot of time thinking about his business. And I always do better if I can just take half an hour a week and just think about, am I doing the right things with my time? Because we're always busy, right? But is it the right stuff?
That's true. Are you busy or are you productive? That's why Gary Keller said that you can become a multimillionaire before noon. Like, what are you actually doing all day? Just do things that are improving your life, being productive. And Patty is saying 100% when you work at home, people think you're free all day. It depends on what you tell people that you're doing, in my opinion. Like, I feel like my wife works from home, but I'm not allowed to talk to her when she's at work. She's busy. So it's not like I will, during that time, I will 100% have to take care of the baby. She will not be able to do both. So, and now there are so many jobs that are work at home permanently. My cousin that I was talking about, he ranks the colleges for US News and World Report, whatever that, every year, top colleges. He's the one that goes in and makes up the metrics for how to rank that. He will never go back to work again. They canceled his office job forever. So that's like, there's no, so you have to, the work at home thing is going to be the future. Like, this is really weird because it kind of makes cities obsolete to a certain degree. It's going to be interesting seeing what happens in the future. Go ahead, Ed.
I was thinking about what you're saying about your wife is that I tell people that often because I don't talk to her either. And it's always interesting to me. About half the people think that's really rude. to leave her, like, why would you not talk to your wife? But there's other half the people like, no, that's polite and professional. Leave her be. Let her do what she needs to do.
Yeah. It's, I don't know. That reminds me, I mean, this is the extreme version of that, but Jocko Willink, the Navy SEAL, he has a picture of his family on his desk. When he gets to work, he puts that picture away to mentally let him know, okay, now it's time to save the country. Then after work, get my family back out, family time. Not family time during, I can't lead people in Afghanistan thinking about my wife. It's gonna, I might end up killing my other teammates. Got to pay attention to what I'm doing at the time.
I'll even go so far as if I think it's something I need to talk to her about, I'll write a note out and I'll lay it on her desk and she can get to it when she has time.
I think that's a good philosophy, because it goes back to Robin yesterday saying she only has 5 hours to work on her business. I would never bother her during those 5 hours if that's important to her. Like, do it the best you can and then go back to
then you can come live with me.
Right?
Because that's not how it goes in this household.
I know. But I would, if I was living with you, I would try my best to give you that 5 hours of magic time, because it's like it may not be 5 hours, it may just be 15 minutes for somebody or an hour. Letting them have that reset time is massive. That's why I think Cherith is going to rejoin the group. She told me that her day is just one long interruption. She can't do anything. Her kids are constantly tagging or constantly asking her for things. People are asking her for things. Her family's asking her for things. Friends are asking. I mean, that's very challenging if you can't put together a few minutes to even think. And that's the opposite of what Ed mentioned. If you're Warren Buffett, no one distracts you all day and you're just alone with your thoughts all day. That's like the opposite. He literally worked on one thing for 80 years versus some people can't get through half an hour without being interrupted 100 times from their family and whatever the other things they're working on. Yeah. And Matt, I think that it is familiar too, because everyone here has the same job, for the most part. And usually you become closer to your coworkers than your family, oddly enough. And the number one source of future family is your coworkers. People find their spouse or significant other at work all the time.
Yeah, like that nice lady at the post office. I consider her my coworker, basically.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a lot of familiarity there, right? See the person every day.
I met my husband at work.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I do have a question though. If we can go back to the listing, your listing and the VA is going through your work. Above the photos, there's a box for descriptions. I've seen it several times. You don't fill that out?
Which part?
Above the photos, when a used item, it drops out a condition box.
I do fill that out.
Oh, you do?
I just didn't in this example. I do fill it out.
Okay. Okay, yeah, okay, good. Oh, all right, that was my question. Thank you.
I have a question.
Yep.
Back on that subject. Do you ever worry about, so you get an item, brand name, whatever, let's say from Lululemon, do you actually ever worry about their name of it? Like it's a Lululemon.
Like the brand ownership?
Yeah, well, like Lululemon makes Wonder Down Under bottoms. Do you ever worry about that items? Yeah. You do go research that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So ideally, it will just say what the model number is on it. But if not, it depends on how expensive the item is. For Lululemon, we probably would try to look it up. But it depends on what the item sells for. It might be worth 2 or 3 minutes of research if you're going to get $20 more because you know the model. But it depends what it is, because knowing the style RN number is huge on so many different items, because you can also take the stock photo if you choose to do that. Some people use the stock photo as the second photo or third photo. Some people use it as the first photo. Some people don't use it. I don't use stock photos, but it does help putting in that exact model, because people will search for that exact model.
Yeah,
I
I've
mean,
just found lately that I'm spending probably a little too much time trying to figure out, oh, what's this style, like what garment is this, and trying to find those stock photos, and it's like, oh, spent 15 minutes looking for this. This is way too long, and
Hey, Travis, you probably know about the RN number, right? In the tags.
you can search RN. Doesn't that only give you the who made it? It doesn't give you the style, does it?
Sometimes it gives you the exact product. The
The
exact.
it does.
RN number is going to give you the manufacturer of an item.
Right. Not always the style, or sometimes the style.
No, it won't give you the style with the RN number. But if you look, have you used Lulu Fanatics?
Yes, I know about Lulu Fanatics. I just use them because they're a common, item. But like Torrid or
brands where it really matters. I feel like Lululemon, Patagonia, Columbia, maybe. Like there are some brands where it matters, and there are other brands where it really doesn't matter. But like if you're looking at pumps and you see a bunch of style names, then it's a pretty good indication that it matters or could increase value. But like, I don't torture myself looking up the name of an LL Bean sweater, because that's not how people search for it.
Right.
I got a 3-minute rule.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I said I have a 3-minute rule. If it takes more than 3 minutes, I'm done.
I don't have that rule, because what if you find a Gucci that's worth $1,000? You might spend the whole day looking at it. So I also, Scott made a good point. If you put in a better title, it's worth more, because the customer thinks that you know the model and you know your item. That's why I've been selling this brand Taylor Stitch, and it's kind of a brand for, this is one of those brands Scott could snipe. Taylor Stitch is a fancy brand in San Francisco for what Matt calls fancy boys. And I always put in the description, this shirt no longer fits because I ate too much over the holidays. And it sells like instantly. And I feel like the person who's buying the shirt is like, yeah, these are really super slim fit. That makes sense that if you ate too much, it wouldn't fit. So that's, that makes it worth $5 more. That one sentence, probably. It depends on your category. And yeah, the research part, it's hard to say. I would say, think about how much your time is worth, and that'll give you a good indicator. So as an example, if you spend 10 minutes, actually, let's say an hour, you spend an hour researching something and it only makes you $10 more, you just made $10 an hour. It's not a good use of your time.
Shouldn't the
what you're
listing
saying
time
about
be in proportion to the value?
Excuse me, Ed?
Shouldn't the listing time take the amount of how much it's worth?
Yeah, I agree with that too.
Hey, what you're saying just there about describing the item well to
Yeah.
get more out of it.
Yeah.
I always try to do that in the title, because I feel like that is really where you can sell someone on it,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because they read the title.
Yeah, like there's a big difference between using words like modern and current versus classic and heavy. You know what I mean?
That's right. And also, like, for example, if you put lightweight jacket, people are like, oh, it's a lightweight jacket. That's like means something more than shipping that, or I don't, what would you guys use for medium weight jacket? Is that even a thing? Because you can't put medium, because medium will pull up the size.
You gotta just use words like casual and stuff.
Okay.
Fall, maybe.
Let's see.
Made weight or layered.
Yeah. Robin says that her 3-year-old has a tiny shirt from them. Yeah, it's really good stuff. But yeah, the more you know about your category, the more little tweaks and Easter eggs you can put in there to make people know. Like, this is even better. If you were to say, this Pioneer receiver is the exact one that this celebrity used in this movie. It's really cool. I bought it in fall '69. I kept it in perfect condition until now. Sounds great. I love the Beatles. That's amazing. People would be like, oh, cool. And then they would spend more for it because there's a story, versus found it at the garage sale, turns on. I mean, that's not worth a lot less. It's not interesting at all. Or if you said, oh, this is from the fall collection of '08 when it came out on this runway in Milan, very cool piece. It's, I'm getting rid of it because I need more space in my closet. That's people. The only reason you buy a brand is because you see some kind of value associated with that brand. So it's your job to go for it. Like, why would a vintage receiver that's made out of wood be worth more than metal? It's just, we've just decided that look is more valuable right now.
And that goes back to that concept that you've said before, that the big guys like Nike, they do all the marketing for you.
They do. Because resellers like to get cocky. Like, I only spent an hour and I made $200. Like, you spent 1 hour and that company spent 30 years making that brand awesome so that you could do that. Like, they did the heavy lifting, not you. You just found it at a garage sale. It's like the resellers have such a hugely inflated ego because when they hit a huge home run, they think it's because of them. It's because the item you found is awesome. Ed, what is your thought for a future call?
I've just noticed over the years that there's some people who work 40 hours a week, give reselling 3 hours a day, and in a year they're killing it. And then there's people who do it 50 hours a week and make less money. So I looked up the psychology of it, and it has to do with constraint. And we could talk about this for half an hour, but I think it's important because I think it affects all of us. Because if you have really constraints, I think as a Robin has 5 hours a day, hey man, a year from now, Robin's going to be killing it.
For sure. With that mentality.
So more on that constraint. So the time frame, I get that. Okay, from 10 to 11, 10 to noon, this is what I'm doing. What are other constraints that would be part of that?
Like, for example, you could say, here's something. If you have a really, really high ambition, everything is no. So I'll give you an example. Like Wayne Gretzky was saying, when he was training for hockey, he couldn't make his own meals. He didn't make his own bed. He didn't pick out his own clothes. He did nothing except for work out and go to the media events. He didn't do anything because his goal was become the best hockey player in the world. So all day is focused on that. Everything is no. It's hard though when you're like a parent and it's not that easy to tell your kid it's always no during this time. That's a constraint. If you say, you know what, maybe that's not realistic, but maybe Robin can tell her family, okay, it's not realistic for you to not bother me for 5 hours. And maybe there's an hour a day where she can't be interrupted no matter what. And she wears a Mickey Mouse hat and her kids know, oh, this is the Mickey Mouse time. I have to entertain myself for an hour. And they know that time is religiously when she ships. I'm sorry. Maybe when she ships and lists or just lists, that constraint helps you. But that's why people with a full-time job usually make more money on eBay than people who do it full-time, because they're forced to look at their time, as Tech would say, no time for BS. Just like, are you making me more money or not? That's why even when I text him, I'm trying to get my full thought in, because I feel like it's rude to say like, hey, what do you think about promoted listings? He'd be like, why are you wasting my time? I would have to say like, hey, I'm thinking about changing my promoted listings rate from 7.1% to 10.1% because it might do this. Otherwise, he might not even respond. People don't reach out to me because they think I'm busy. You just have to set up your constraint so that people know what's worth your time. That's why I turned off consulting essentially by putting it at $350 an hour. Because if I have to interrupt my day to help somebody out with their day, then I got to get paid for that time. Otherwise, it messes up my whole momentum. That's another reason why my store has been growing so fast, because I barely have time for YouTube. I haven't watched this. I think I've watched like 1 hour of TV since I started the group of tech. there's been no time. It's hard, like trying to get all the and then now, so it's been a little bit better now because we have different people answering different things, and he's a machine. So even though he has a bunch of businesses, he can still go in the Facebook group and answer, well, how do I change my vacation settings? He'll go in there and help you out. So oh yeah, this is going to be our topic tonight. So we record the podcast on Wednesday. So if you guys want to listen to it tonight, it's at 4 p.m. Pacific is when we record. We're talking about the concept of a mortgage. I've never missed a mortgage payment, but I've missed my eBay mortgage payment. If eBay were to foreclose and take my store, if I didn't list 100 items a week or something, I would never miss that. But since they don't care whether or not you list, you don't. But imagine if Tech and I were joking to put up a challenge like, okay, everyone says they want to list 100 items a week. If you don't, we'll just take your items. I mean, it's not gonna, can't make it work like that. But it's like, if you're not gonna list your death pile, we will. Give it to us. You know, let us buy your pile. You can have the money right now. We'll list it and earn that money on it. Constraints. Oh yeah, we could do a whole call on constraints. That's probably really useful. We should do that tomorrow. Everyone talk about how to limit yourself, how to improve things, how to, and the best constrainer of all time is always just the word no, or no thank you. Hey, you know, and that's always hard to say. How do you say no thank you to a kid? You know, like I want to play now. No thanks. That's not, nobody answers like that because it doesn't work that way. But everyone have an awesome day. I will see you guys